Hello and welcome to Simple Scotch Reviews. Here we have Glen Moray Sherry Cask Finish. It's a NAS single malt Scotch whiskey from the Speyside region. It is specifically Oloroso Sherry Cask finished. It's an NAS. Would not expect any more than an NAS for the price point, so not knocking it for that at all. Glen Moray is one that I'll have several reviews up of Glen Moray. It's definitely, for me, good value whiskey. And I don't want to go at length about that because I have other Glen Moray reviews, but I think at most price points it's a value. The 25-year-old Glen Moray isn't cheap, but it's certainly a really good whiskey, so at that price point it's still a really good whiskey. It doesn't let you down compared to other whiskeys. It may be a little overpriced. It is a fantastic whiskey that 25-year-old Portwood finish. Yeah, Portwood finish. But we're not reviewing that one here. We're doing the sherry cask finish. So diving into this one, dark sweetness, like maybe a brown sugar. It's a little dark. Brown sugar toffee. There's some baking spice. There's definitely a distinctly butterscotch note in there as well. Like, I get toffee and caramel and those kind of things, but there's a distinct butterscotch note. When that butterscotch note shows up, it's usually very distinct for me in whiskeys. So maybe I'm sensitive to it, but it's one of those that sometimes with fruit, I can't exactly pick out what kind of fruit. But when it's butterscotch, I know it's butterscotch for me. Alright, so on the palate, it is fruit cocktail with heavy syrup. So the sugary syrup. Again, this one's tough. It's fruity. Maybe a hint of apricot, but I'm not getting a specific fruit in this one. It's just generic. It's just fruit. But the best I can describe with the just fruit in Glen Moray, which this is a common theme in Glen Moray for me. 25-year-old Portwood, I had the same issue of not being able to describe exactly what kind of fruit it was, but to try to clarify, because fruit could mean so many different things, it's not citrus. It's not citrus, not tropical, but it's not even those dark sherry fruits either. It's not berry, it's not the rich raisin plum, it's not any of those, but it's just this kind of can't call it a specific fruit. I don't want to put a name to it. There is a hint of apricot, but the main fruit note I'm getting is just fruit. It's not a specific fruit. Sorry if that's hard to wrap your mind around, but there's a little brown sugar as well. The finish is not very long, but heather honey, malty honey, malt and honey are the two in the finish for me. Not a very long finish either, but it's a good whiskey. Let's take one more taste here and let me check my notes here. So yeah, I have notes because obviously I only poured from this into this Glencairn for the review. I figured since I'd seen these little bottles, I would just get one of these so I could crack it open fresh for the review, so it's not like, oh, it's been sitting for 6 months to a year, because whiskey can change. So no, it doesn't age in the bottle, but yes, it can change after being opened. So I figured I'd get a good baseline for these. Were on clearance, so I just grabbed some Glen Moray miniatures. In my notes, I found the nose. I didn't find anything that I didn't get right here. Fruit cocktail. Again, I noted not a long finish when I was exploring this whiskey. So overall, falls into that Glen Moray category for me of it's great for the price. So I know prices can be different everywhere. Don't shout at me that your prices are higher or even lower. But there's not a lot of single malt Scotch whiskeys in a sub $30 category, at least not where I live. And because, yeah. And Glen Moray has several offerings in the sub $30 price point. They have Glen Moray, the classic, the port finish, the sherry finish, the Chardonnay finish, the Burgundy cask finish. 12-year-old when it's on sale is like right at that $30 mark. So it's like, yeah, it's a lot. And I applaud Glen Moray for being a decent whiskey that is not expensive, because so much of the bottom shelf, I've searched the bottom shelf because I would love to find a diamond in the rough in the bottom shelf, and I'll put up a review of a Glen Moray that may be that whiskey, but this, you can't go wrong. It's not an expensive whiskey, especially if you go through whiskey quicker. You don't want to, have all the... If you've got money to kill, by all means, only drink 20-plus-year-old single malt Scotch and drink it however much you want. But for those of us that are searching for budget options, I say Glen Moray is your friend. If you want budget options and you don't like Glen Moray, you're kind of stuck. But Glen Moray and, to a lesser extent, Singleton of Glendalough, for whatever reason, Singleton of Glendalough has crazy specials sometimes around me. But besides that, Glen Moray is your friend for budget whiskey. And this is no exception, so definitely suggest trying it for the price. Heck, buy all the low-price Glen Morays, because I don't really remember the Chardonnay cask, so I wouldn't endorse that one. But the others they're just good whiskeys, and they're at a low price. So if you're looking for something that's just a casual, everyday sipper that you want to have a glass of Scotch, but you don't want to pick apart the flavors, you don't want to break the bank, it's definitely got its place. I enjoy it. I'd say the sherry, while a step up in price, a small step up in the value category, it's worth the step up from the classic for sure. But regardless, it's definitely worth... I'll say it's the best sherry finished Scotch that I've ever had under $26. I haven't had another sherry finished Scotch under $26, so Glen Moray is doing something right, and I definitely enjoy this one. So this review again is within the lens, viewing Glen Moray within the lens of it's a cheap whiskey, how good is it? Because no, I would not pick this over GlenDronach 12, but I can buy 3 bottles of this for the price of GlenDronach. So I always look with the view of value for the money and try to discern it that way. I don't want to, I'm not going to say, wow, this is a great whiskey, and then I say, wow, GlenDronach 18 is a great whiskey, and they do not equate. It's, put some context into it, but either way, Glen Moray, as always, is the budget king here, so definitely suggest picking one up if you're exploring the budget whiskeys. Thanks for watching.